Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Brewing with Jim.
And good morning. Here's Jim right here.
We got Jim with us today.
And Joseph.
Yeah, my name's Joseph Jasper. I'll call myself the co-host and the question asker, but we've got Jim Brewington. This is a show where we get audience questions.
What do you call me?
The host.
Oh, the host?
Yeah, I'm co-host, but you're the host.
Well, if we're it's both.
That's...
Go on. I interrupt.
No, that's true.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Our question this week is, what defines a co-host? No. We are a show where we get audience questions about, it could be about anything, really. It's usually about life in some form or fashion. Could be about relationships or God or whatever. But what we try to do is provide wisdom or insight into those questions just to help out our audience. So, Jim, what do you say? We've got a question this week. What do you say we dive in?
Let's dive in.
All right. So our question for this week, is it wrong for Christians to be rich or successful? Interesting.
Okay. The answer is no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would be wrong about that? There's nothing in Scripture that says that we have to limit ourselves to a certain amount of money. Or I don't know what you mean by success. I don't know what the questioner means by success.
Yeah. I would interpret that as like financially successful.
Probably financially successful. It's wrong. The wrong part and the risky part of having a lot of money is attributing the source of that income to something other than our provider, who is God. And that would be a problem. That's one of the problems.
Certainly.
The source of the money in an earthly perspective could be inheritance. It could be hard work.
Sure.
It could be risk-taking.
The lottery. I don't know.
The lottery.
A lot of things.
Well, that is a source of income for some people.
Yeah.
It can be all sorts of visible, operationally understandable sources. Mm-hmm. But when the source is viewed as the provision or the provider, that's a problem. Because our provider, from a biblical perspective, from a Christian's perspective, is Christ himself.
That's right.
And anybody who doesn't recognize that is going to look for the source of the money and the traceable source of the money. And that's going to become the provider in their mind, and make this leap, that's idolatry.
Yeah.
That is worshiping something that is not worthy of being worshipped.
Yeah.
I think that in order to make a lot of money, I'm not speaking from experience here. I'm comfortable.
As a pastor and as a private school teacher.
Yes, pastor, that's right. Pastor and school teacher.
Yeah.
Well, there are some pastors who are wealthy.
That is true.
And as a result of donations, and some are wealthy as a result of donations unrequested. They have just come in. There are beggars in the ministry.
Sure.
But off point somewhat. If we look at our source of provision as, if that occupies the thinking in our mind primarily, then that's worship.
Yeah.
We're beginning to worship. Everybody worships something.
Absolutely.
Everybody. I'm in Romans 1 and 2 here. But everybody worships something, and everybody is religious, if you will. And even people who deny being religious that's their religion, is the denial of religion.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
There's no such thing as a lack of belief or a lack of worship.
No, because we're created to believe.
The question is, what are you worshiping? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, is one of the risks of having a lot of money is not having many worldly needs.
Yeah.
Because if you need something, you just buy it.
That's right.
And if something breaks, you don't repair it, you just replace it.
Sure.
And you don't stand in the store aisle looking at the shampoos, wondering which one is the cheapest. And okay. That is a problem, because in a worldly sense, that person is comfortable.
Yes.
And when someone is comfortable and they think they have everything they need or can acquire anything they need,
yes,
it's really difficult for them to understand they need Christ.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
A person who's desperate for food
Yes.
or clothing or housing or any kind of desperation, I suppose, it's easier for them to listen and accept what is being presented to them as a source of all their needs.
Exactly. Yeah.
I will supply all your needs according to his riches and grace. God will supply them.
The question, we tackled a question like this earlier on in the show. Let me see if I can find the number real quick.
Well, we talked about success in the very first episode.
Well, yeah, back with Grady.
Yes.
But I'm thinking of, okay, I just found it. Episode 43 was, how do you tell someone satisfied with their life that they need Christ?
That's right. I remember that episode. You tell them, well, I don't want to answer that question now.
Of course,
we answered it when we did
audience
that episode.
can go back and listen to 43.
So, 43, okay.
Let me ask you this. In your experience as a pastor, I'm confident that you would have never perhaps taken like metrics of this exact science, but just off the top of your head, your experience, do you feel like it was harder or easier to pastor in certain, demographics of wealth? Is that something that was ever on your mind of like, or let me even word it this way. Does the message coming from the pulpit change if you're speaking primarily to, let's say, impoverished people versus wealthy, comfortable,
I'm sure it does. It should change.
Sure.
The method of approach, the syntax, the examples, and so
that's
forth
fair. Yeah,
should
absolutely.
change because the examples are given to see through the windshield. You stare through the windshield instead of staring at the insects on the windshield.
Sure.
So, yes, of course, it would change somewhat. We live in Orange County. Now, Orange County is a pretty affluent place. Orange County, California.
That's right. Yeah.
Is a pretty affluent place, especially South Orange County. And that's where we live.
That's where the
our
school
station.
is, yeah.
That's where the school is. And yet there are people in poverty in South Orange County. Mm-hmm. But their sense of poverty isn't abject poverty.
Right.
It's not penury. It's less than my neighbors have.
Yeah.
Or less than it appears my neighbors have.
Sure.
And we're sort of involved in impress other people with your provision because that's a signal to other people that I know what I'm doing. My business is successful.
Absolutely.
My income is successful, and so forth.
It's very tempting to live lavishly when you can.
Well,
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. When people tell me, students sometimes tell me, what my goal in life is, I want to be rich and successful.
Yeah.
And famous. I want to have money and I want to be famous.
Yeah. They want to be influencers.
Well, they want to be seen as that and known as that and regarded because then people will look, I don't know what direction it is, up to them.
Sure.
And they will, and they think that's a good thing. My answer to people, to students who say that is, I hope that happens. I hope it happens to you so that when you get there, you realize it's not enough.
Yes.
That there is still going to be a vacuum in your life. There's going to be a vacuum in your soul. There's going to be a vacuum of wanting more. That's going to be the symptom of that.
Yeah.
You'll know you want more, and there's never enough.
Yes.
Okay. So is it wrong for a Christian to be rich? No, it's not. It's wrong for a Christian to mistakenly regard the worldly source of that wealth as the provider.
Yeah.
That's going to be theologically sketchy. Well, it's not sketchy, it's just wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Is it, I don't know about success. Success is, all success is measured in numbers. You know what I think about success.
Yes.
I would never try to be successful. I would try to be valuable.
That's right.
And
I remember you talking about that.
We did talk about that. That was episode number 1. I remember that one. The problem with regarding success as a goal to be achieved, when are you there? Mm-hmm. And as I mentioned just moments ago, all success is measured by numbers. Do you have a successful marriage? Yes, we've been married to 50 years. Do you have a successful business? And the answer is going to be, if you do, is going to be yes, and then you can show them your profit and loss statement. It's going to be so much money, or it's going to be, we're now in so many different states or so many different countries.
That's right.
We are... we have plenty of money. Yes, we are a success. If you go fishing, was your trip successful? Yes, we caught, and there's going to be a number right there.
That's right.
So all success, and I can't think of an exception, is going to be measured in numbers. So and that's going to be a problem, I think. Instead of how valuable am I to my team, to my school, to my company, to my friendships, how valuable am I?
I appreciate that perspective, and it gets to where my brain would initially go in if I had started the answer to our question today. My brain jumps to the word stewardship as being like a core principle of what would be asked of a rich person, but really of any person. And the idea behind stewardship is like what it means to our audience to steward something along would be to care for it, to look out for it, and to protect it, or to allow a thing to flourish. And so what I would argue is that...
Oh, that part's good. To allow a thing to flourish. I'm having too many thoughts at once.
That's great.
Ahead.
No, please. Yeah.
Well, it does not mean we have control. Good stewardship is not control.
That is absolutely true.
Thank you. The Bible says that humankind has stewardship over the animals.
Yes.
I have talked to people who said, well, I have stewardship over the birds. I can have them fly in another direction. No, you can't. That's not going to work.
That's right.
And you're lucky to get your dog trained.
Yes.
You're not going to have stewardship in the sense of control.
Yeah, absolutely.
No.
Stewardship does not mean
Can you
control.
remember those things you just said? Stewardship is what? That's important.
Yeah, stewardship is protecting something. It's guiding it along.
Yes.
I said one other small thing, but allowing a thing to flourish, I think is fundamental to that definition. And how I view like a person's responsibility in the world as a Christian, like I feel like we are called to a stewardship of ourselves, our own bodies, our relationships.
Certainly is.
Our creation itself, the world, all of that. Other people, certainly. And with that being kind of a core principle in my mind of like, what does it mean to be Christian? Wealth for an individual person, whether perhaps they're wealthy, perhaps they're not. If they are wealthy, I feel like that the stewardship of that wealth and what that wealth ends up doing in the world, the change that is affected in the world because of that person's decisions, that is a stewardship decision.
It is.
That person needs to be aware of.
There are some people who measure their spirituality by their wealth.
Right.
And God will provide for me as much money as I want, the prosperity gospel.
Prosperity gospel,
Which is heresy.
Yes.
But the prosperity gospel is if I do everything right and follow all the rules in Christianity and have enough faith and so forth, I will be wealthy.
Yes.
And there are preachers who preach that, and there are preachers who are wealthy who preach that.
There are treacherous preachers that prey on people, PREY, prey on people. just to be clear, that I've heard of scandals of pastors and churches that offer blessings depending on the size of gifts that are sent in, and it's like that is just awful. Anyway, what I wanted to say just about like where wealth comes in for a person is that I think I would argue that if a person is truly wealthy to a significant degree, I would put onto that person that you have a responsibility, I think, to use that particularly well. And that's a responsibility that a poor person does not have.
That's true. There is more responsibility with more material possessions and so forth, especially money. I'm going to state an example that I think I have stated before, and that's my boss, my former boss, Rick Warren, Pastor Rick Warren, who founded Saddleback Church. He wrote a book called Purpose-Driven Life.
That's right.
And Purpose-Driven Life became the largest selling nonfiction book in the world's history next to the Bible. Yeah. And, of course, enormous amounts of royalty money came into him. I've heard him, he talked to us about that. And he said that it was monthly, millions would come in, and I don't need this. What do I do? His reaction to that was, he lives in the same house he lived in before he wrote the book. Yep. He drove the same car that he lived in. He went to the church where he had pastored for, I believe it was about 25, 30 years at that time, and talked to accounting and said, how much money has the church paid me since we started? And they told him, and he paid all that back, and he stopped his salary. Yeah. And so he was actually a volunteer pastor in the church. But and then a lot of that money was given away.
Absolutely.
And for good and for God. It was given. He did not acquire ostentatious wealth where he would just show it off. And and
his lifestyle changes, and he becomes a different person.
You know, his lifestyle didn't really change, and he, like the rest of us, have suffered loss. He did suffer loss. Right. He suffered the death of his son, and he grieved. The wealth doesn't stop the grieving. Yeah. And I can speak, I know a little bit about what it is to lose a son. Yeah. And that spiritually, I don't know how anybody could go through stuff like that without Christ. Yeah. But I do know how they go through it. They go through it
with Christ. Yeah.
They go through it with a replacement or a sublimation of Christ. Or they go through it with drinking, or they go through it with drugs, or they go through it with whatever it is they worship. They spend more time with that. So yeah.
If there's any like wrapping up question, is there anything that you would add? I'm just curious to, I shared about like the stewardship piece, but to put that into a more specific package for you to think about, if you want to talk about this, is how would you specifically pastor to a person that, let's just say, is really wealthy, and they come to you in your church and they go like, what do I do with all this? Is it kind of that Rick Warren? Is that a model that is replicable, I guess, in that sense? Or
well, if they're in the church, I presume they're Christians. Yeah, it's just a presumption.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they're in the church. They probably already know the notion, the idea, the truth that money that they have came from the Lord. Yeah.
It is the Lord's money.
It is the Lord's money. Yeah. So how would I pastor to them? I don't tell congregants or people to whom or with whom I pastor what to do. Yeah. But provide principles, provide biblical principles. The money is a resource. How much do you need? Right. Do you need a bigger house, and then do you need a bigger house than that? Mm-hmm. And so the answer is going to be their answer, but it's phrased in such a way that they're going to say, no, I don't really need all of this, and guide them a little bit. One of the problems with evangelism, that is preaching, teaching, or showing the gospel to somebody from somebody who has so much money, is their own sense of, what do I need all this for? Yeah. And is my Christianity just fire insurance so I don't go to hell,
Yeah.
or is it a way of life where I love God and love each other, and I manifest that love by giving, but not just throwing money at.
Right.
And understanding relationships. I would. I think the gospel is most easily understood by people who are loved.
Yeah.
And a pastor's job is to love the people they pastor.
Yeah.
So
you just said something about 10, 20 seconds ago that actually hit me as really profound.
What was it?
And I want to unzip it a little bit.
Okay.
Because what you said is it's not just about giving money, just here you go.
Mm-hmm.
I think a part of stewardship, if I can go back to the kind of my key word of the day, it's involvement.
It is.
And I don't want a rich person to hear this and think, oh, if I can just cut a check every month, even if it's a big check, I'm good, and as if that exempts them from involvement
from loving
and service and like other aspects of the Christian life. I would argue that just because a person might have a lot of money, that they can just bankroll a bunch of good things, that is kind of all they have to do. I would not argue that is all they have to do.
I agree 100%. Of course,
that's fascinating.
Yes. The another risk is it's very difficult for a rich person to become. I don't like the way I just said that. It's not difficult, but it's more complex for a rich person to see a need they have for a relationship with Christ and therefore salvation. And all the other benefits of having a relationship and a friendship with King Jesus. That's very easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. Okay. And I don't know what other summary we could have here.
That's fantastic.
The summary is, no, it's not wrong to be rich. Yes, it is wrong to depend upon the source that you see of that as your provider.
Yeah, I love that. That's a fantastic, I think, summary of this whole thing. Good. Let's jump to the second segment. This is the surprise Jim segment, where it's always kind of a fun, goofy question that Jim does not know ahead of time. So, Jim, here it is for you this week. Have you ever heard the phrase, if someone might say this, I hear this with young people a lot, that I peaked in life. It speaks to like the part of life where you were at your best. Or, people will joke about like, I peaked in high school, or, I peaked in college. My question for you, as goofy as this is when would you say you peaked in life? That does not have to be a metric of, success or anything like that. But it's more a way of saying, like, when in life did you just feel the happiest, the most carefree, the most joyful?
Oh, that just changed what I was thinking of answering. Carefree.
Yeah.
I peak in life. When you first said the word peak, I thought squint and look through a keyhole.
Oh, peak in life. Yeah.
But no.
Yeah, like
that's not it. It's when did you reach the zenith or the of your.
What would you say was or is the high time?
I don't know. I keep thinking about my being in the Navy.
Yeah.
And being commissioned as an officer, and I thought, okay, now all you bullies in high school who weren't nice to me, look at me now. And then I became, I was stationed on a ship, and I became an officer. I was the officer, one of the officers on the ship. And I qualified to be officer of the deck underway, which means I stood on the bridge and I may have been the only officer up there, or even awake in the middle of the night. And I sometimes thought, this is really something. But I wasn't carefree. I was alert and careful, because
that's absolutely
it's a very different thing than being carefree. I don't know that I've ever been carefree.
Sure.
It's wired in me to care.
That's definitely
so
the
I
case,
don't know how to answer that part of the question.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm pretty much carefree here at this school.
Yeah.
In that I get to determine the curriculum and the direction of the program in which I teach, and I get to have relationships with the students that are beneficial to them and helpful.
That's right. Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know that this is not a stunning answer. It's not even a fun or whimsical answer. I don't know that. I've never thought about it before. When
Certainly.
did I peak? It's almost as though there is one peak in life, and that's the superlative. This is the highest I've ever come.
Of course, it is a superlative.
And I don't see it that way.
Yeah. I fully agree. For even being the one that asked the question, I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
The questions are. I don't know what the next word is. The questions
are great.
The questions are great. The questions are challenging most of the time because I want to answer in such a way that is is entertaining. I don't know. It's gripping for people to listen to. And this one wasn't. Now I can tell you, as a young man, I viewed the future with certain successes or certain peaks that I would have. There are some incidents in people's life where they anticipate this is going to be one of the highest points of my life, like the day they get married.
Yeah.
The day I got married was not a peak in my life because I had known Debbie for a while.
Yeah.
Not a long time. We had a very short engagement. But
Sure.
I have known her. That was just a day when the relationship, the name of the relationship changed.
That's right.
So it wasn't a peak.
Sure, that's true.
You know.
Yeah.
What else can I say?
I don't know. Yeah, it is inherently a funny question, and there's no right or wrong.
Funny
answer.
meaning weird, or
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's inherently
not humorous.
It's inherently an odd question. But that's kind of the point of this segment.
I would like to hear other people answer that question.
Yeah. I mean, I'll jump in and say, like, it is something that, like, you could joke about in the sense of saying, okay, like, I peaked in high school in some sense because high school was a time when I felt like I was discovering like who I was, and like I felt like my personality developed a bunch. I felt like my sense of humor and my love of like education kind of happened in high school. But then I look and like, well, but objectively speaking, like college was better. So maybe I peaked in college because that's when like.
Well, the next stage might always be better.
That's the thing.
A high school guy catches the Hail Mary in the end zone and wins the game. Might be a peak.
That's
Everybody's
a peak, but then
cheering, and then that goes away quickly.
Yeah, there's a higher peak.
There's
a couple years later.
Something else.
When I look back at my life, you've always called me an optimist. Maybe this is me just being an optimist. Like I feel like starting in high school, I don't think I ever really like deeply considered many things in life before high school. So let's just start there. High school was great, but college was better. And college was great, but then like my after college years were better. And those after college years were great, but then I got married and I have, a kid and a second kid coming, and like it's better. Like life has felt like it's gotten better on this like steady, upward slope.
Well, there comes a time in age when you don't have my age, for example.
Sure.
And I'm 80 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And there comes a time when, well, now what? Debbie and I always wanted to grow old together. Well, we've done that. Now what?
Now what?
And so my goals change. I'm active.
Yeah.
I am very active. I work full time. We do the podcast. I'm working on a book, writing, not reading. Well, reading too. And we're the kids are on. That's all done.
Yeah.
In a sense. Well, in reality. So now what is going to be the peak? And I don't really live for peaks. I live for what can God, give me an assignment today.
Oh, that's a beautiful perspective.
Give me an assignment today and help me have my eyes open enough to recognize it.
Yeah.
It happened yesterday. It happens many days.
Yeah.
But there was a student who came in who's going through a lot of horrible stuff, and he excuse me, I sat down with him, and he didn't have to tell me all the details of the things he was going through, but he did.
Yeah.
And I was able to, I don't know, Christians would say minister to him. I was just with him.
Yeah.
And I listened. And I listened with facial expressions and eye contact. And he knew I was hearing what he was saying. And there's my assignment for yesterday.
Yeah.
Love
it.
Those happen
That's
almost
great,
every day.
That's a good perspective maybe to end on as well. Like chasing peaks isn't worth anything in life, but the daily, like you get up in the morning, you put your shoes on, and it's like, God, what do you have for me today? That's really valuable.
Okay.
I like that.
Good.
Let's end there. We're going to sign off to our audience. Yeah, sorry.
No.
We're sign off to our audience is just that we appreciate you listening every week, and we want to invite you to reach out to us if you have anything that you'd like us to know, including if you have a question for us to answer.
Please send it.
Yeah, we have an email address set up that's brewingwithjim@gmail.com, where we will take in all forms of input. That's, again, brewingwithjim@gmail.com. So with that, friends, thank you for listening to another episode. We hope you have a good week, and goodbye.
Be with you soon. Bye.
The topics that are covered and the answers that are offered during episodes of Brewing with Jim are designed to mine the wisdom attained from a life of pastoral ministry and care. They do not constitute professional or clinical training or expertise in the areas of counseling or mental health. CVCS and its podcast network want to provide a platform for the discipleship of our community. Brewing with Jim is our attempt to foster that environment in a format that is accessible for everyone to participate in. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during the show are the speaker's own, and they may or may not represent the views, thoughts, or opinions of Capistrano Valley Christian Schools or its faculty. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening, and stay tuned for more.